so much history in the great sport of hockey in Russian circles, and Gillian's here to help educate you, the fan, and us as well about so much great history. 4 divisions in this league, 2 different conferences, and we start with the Kharlamov division, named after the former great Russian player Valery Kharlamov. And I can see the smile and the passion you have for this. What does he mean to the sport of hockey in Russia?
So Valery Kharlamov is one of the most recognizable names in Soviet Russian hockey, but I would say worldwide hockey. He is so creative that I think often the adjectives used to describe him are more aligned with divinity than anything human. He was incredibly creative, taken far too young at the age of 33. Yeah. He was nicknamed, interestingly, the Spaniard throughout his career because his mother was a child refugee during the Spanish Civil War. She was brought to the Soviet Union, but he was a player that was absolutely fundamental to that Petrov-Mikhailov Kharlamov, the infamous line that defined Soviet hockey. But he was in 2 major car accidents in his career. The first one was career-ending, or it was expected to be career-ending, excuse me. He was rehabilitated back up to full health by Anatoly Tarasov. The second one took his life, and it took place at a time when we were really only just starting to see him come into his own. He wore the number 17. Ilya Kovalchuk was one of the players who has long honored him by wearing that, but you may have noticed, for example, at the Olympics, that Kovalchuk flips it, wears 71, because no Russian player wears that number at the international level in deference to his legacy.
What other things do you feel that were his biggest contributions in Russian hockey history? What are some other things that are really significant that people should know about him?
Well, I think the story that everyone recalls is the 72 Summit Series, when he was one of the first players to bring the Soviet style to the rest of the world. He was so lethal, so dynamic, that Bobby Clark felt he had to break his leg to neutralize him, something that the majority of Russia and certainly Kharlamov's family have not forgotten or forgiven.
So let's talk about some of the teams that are in this division. Metallurg, Tractor, just to name a couple. What's your take on this division as a whole? Maybe some things fans need to know about some of these teams.
Essentially the Eastern group of death, if you will, especially this season, looking at Metallurg, Akbars, Tractor. I mean, you've got some of the top-ranked teams there. Also, a lot of miles between these teams when you consider that they stretch from Nizhnekamsk and Yekaterinburg all the way, when Kunlin's at home, to Beijing. So this is a particular division that traverses a lot of ground, and also the standings quite fundamentally, because Kunlin, for example, tends to be toward the bottom, whereas Metallurg right now is sitting at the very, very top with almost no one breathing down their neck.
Yeah, and just a quick thought on that with Kunlin. They've been in the Moscow area for 2 years, so that really has been a massive benefit for their outfit.
Absolutely. So they've been playing in Mytishi, Russia ever since COVID unfortunately closed the border and didn't allow them to go home. Actually, interestingly enough, COVID hit during their season. I was with them in Beijing in December. They leave and they realize they have to spend the rest of the season on the road, and they cannot go back. Jake Chelios tells a funny story about trying to get their luggage out of the airport months and months after all of this had transpired. It was stuck in customs. They were washing clothes in the sink and everything else. They looked at it as an adventure, but it was really the sign that the world was entering into some pretty treacherous territory.
You don't get that kind of information anywhere else. That is our KHL insider, Gillian Kemmerer. That's a look here today at the Kharlamov division as we look back at some of the great Russian hockey history. For Gillian, Ben Holden, thanks so much for watching.